talking about this online gaming platforms. In gambling parlance, it's said that the house always wins, but it's very hard to compete against the government. Essentially, and you say that there's always someone bigger, there's usually not anyone bigger than the government. You can't compete with that. And ultimately, that is the case for the online gaming platforms as well. The government set to slam the brakes on that segment. A new bill, which is set to be presented today, could criminalize fantasy sports, poker, rummy, and all of those money-based gaming platforms. Let's go across to Hiral to talk about what's being discussed and what the distinguishing factor is going to be. Hiral?
Alex, it's interesting over here because, you know, in any games that we play, change of rule is not acceptable, right? Even from a Uno that all of us have played in our childhood. But this is going to be interesting because the rules are just about to change. Let's quickly take you through as to what the impact will be over here. Firstly, we're talking about formalization and regulation. Now, this is somewhere going to be positive for companies that are operating in transparent and legal manner. However, the ones who are not, this will come in as a negative blow. Secondly, there is a blanket ban on real money gaming. This will be negative for companies whose revenue comes from games like fantasy sports and online rummy. So keep this in mind categorically. Thirdly, they've made a distinction between the type of games. So companies that focus on in-app purchases, advertising-based revenue from non-RMG games may be less affected on the back of the distinction that they have made as well. In terms of strict penalties, financial institutions also may be barred from processing payments for these games. So both of this becomes a double whammy. And you're talking about an increased tax burden. The introduction of 28% GST on the full deposit value for online gaming companies is what you're looking at versus 18% that was actually prevalent in terms of platform fees. Now let's look at the other part of it as well in terms of impact on individual companies. Now Delta Corp, the stock did rally yesterday and this was on the back of the introduction of the bill. Now casino operators are not targeted under the new online gaming bill. And casino gaming almost accounts for 90% of Delta Corp's revenues if you have to look at FY25. And with the bill's focus being on formalizing the industry, this probably will continue to be a benefit for them. The clamping down on illegal online betting is also seen as a positive for land-based casino operators. And they're already facing GST litigation and tax demands at something upwards of 60,000 odd crores. And the business right now remains unaffected. So probably you may not see a knee-jerk reaction on a Delta Corp today with the way it closed in yesterday's session. Nazara Technologies, the focus is on casual, freemium and esports titles over here. Now, they are engaged in real money gaming through subsidiaries, and that's mainly PokerBaazi. If you talk about their revenue, that was almost 192 odd crores in terms of the first quarter of FY26. That is 38% of their revenues. So net effect does remain negative with regards to Nazara goes. And very lastly, if you have to look at the unlisted players in terms of impact, Dream 11, Mobile Premier League, these are the ones who will be highly impacted as well. And, you know, if you talk about the real money fantasy gamings, they are directly hit as well on the back of this. So it's mainly a hit in terms of unlisted players. Fund transfer restrictions could also choke the user participation on this extent. And your ads or endorsement curbs could affect brand spends and your marketing. So clearly, the industry consolidation is what you will see, and your smaller players may likely exit. So major impact on unlisted players. Nazara, 38% of its revenues comes in from there. Delta Corp, as of now, seems to have no impact.